Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back to talk about the game threes for the series between the New York Knicks, Detroit Pistons, Clippers Nuggets, and the Memphis Grizzlies and the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, the first series that I'm going to dive into is the Knicks and Pistons series. Now, last night the New York Knicks won a close game three, but with this series, either team could be up 2-1. And the reason why I say that is because that the Detroit Pistons game one and last night in game three could have went either way. It could have. Now, with the New York Knicks last night, they had balanced scoring all across the board. Mikal Bridges, 20 points. OG Anunoby, 22 points. Karl Anthony Towns, 31 points. Jalen Brunson, 30 points. Josh Hart, 6 points. The bench production for the New York Knicks, Mitchell Robinson, 2 points. Cameron Payne, 4 points. Miles McBride, 3 points. Landry Shamet, 0 points. And like I've been saying, that this series between the Knicks and the Pistons are about what starting five is better than the opposition. Last night, the New York Knicks starting five was better than the Pistons starting five. And I'm gonna say it right here, even though it was balanced scoring for the Pistons, two guys didn't even crack double digits. But Tobias Harris, 5 points. Azur Thompson, 7 points. Tim Hardaway Jr., 24 points. Jalen Duren, 16 points. Cade Cunningham, 24 points. Pistons bench production, Paul Reed, 4 points. Ronald Holland II, 6 points. Dennis Schroeder, 18 points. Malik Beasley, 12 points. Like I've said over the past couple of minutes with this show, Pistons should have won game one and game three. Now, after game one, the Pistons head coach JB Bickerstaff said that we were the best team in game one for 3 quarters. It don't matter what you do in the first 3 quarters. What matters what you do is in them final 12 minutes of the fourth quarter. So, Detroit Pistons, like I said, this is their first playoff experience with Cade Cunningham in the Cade Cunningham era. Detroit Pistons are also one of the youngest teams in the NFL. Their average age is 25. So nothing but young stars on the Detroit Pistons. And last night was the first time in 17 years where the Detroit Pistons hosted a playoff game. And the fans were rowdy. The fans were behind the Pistons 100%, but they failed to get the victory when they needed it the most. Now, what the Detroit Pistons, where they also lost this game at was, I'm going to go to statistics now. Where the Detroit Pistons lost this game was, what do I always say, America? If you've been watching me over the past few months, or if you've been watching me ever since I started this show, I've always said that time clock mismanagement, turnovers, and not calling the right plays, not having the right scheme in place can lose you the game. Now, last night, the statistics, some of them went in the Pistons' favor and some of them went in the New York Knicks' favor, but the ultimate statistic was the scoreboard and it went in the New York Knicks' favor. So, shooting percentage from the floor, 46% for the Knicks, 45% for the Pistons. 3-point percentage, 37% for the New York Knicks, 43% for the Pistons. Rebounds, Detroit Pistons +3 in total rebounds. Offensive rebounds +2 for the Pistons. Defensive rebounds +1 for the Pistons. Assists even at 22. Steals +5 for the New York Knicks. Blocks +3 for the New York Knicks. Turnovers. Both of these teams turned the ball over a lot last night. They did because it was it was it was 4 turnovers where I saw the New York Knicks. They were just ill advised. They didn't even need to be turnovers. But you don't have all of your guys on one accord. You will have some miscues, and this game was full of miscues on both sides of the court for both teams. Because now the Knicks, the largest lead they had was 14, and the largest lead that the Pistons had was 4. Now, Detroit Pistons, if they don't win game 4, I think that this series will be over because I don't see the New York Knicks losing game 5 on their home floor. Now, at the start, before this series started, I said that the Knicks would win this series. All you New York Knicks fans out there, and the number one New York Knicks fan, Stephen A. Smith, I see where the top 5 guys on the New York Knicks, they came together and they was all on one accord last night. They was all corresponding with each other. Like I said, since the Knicks have this momentum, it's important to not lose this momentum and win the next 2 games, because you do not want to let this series go to a 6th or 7th game with you being the team that have the most experience rather than your opponent. Because, like I said, before this series started, the Pistons didn't have nothing to lose. JB Bickerstaff, he doesn't have nothing to lose with this bunch right here. We know that the Pistons are going to be back here for years and years to come. But like I said, experience in the playoffs, it has shown in it showed in game 1 for the New York Knicks, and it showed in game 3 last night for the New York Knicks. So, Detroit Pistons fans, you had you Detroit Pistons fans, the Pistons had a great showing last night. But now let's see if the Pistons can bounce back like they did in game 2. Like I said, if the Pistons want to win this series, they're going to have to win an odd game. They're going to have to win one, because it seemed like the Pistons, they've just won even games. They lose game 1, then they win game 2. They lose game 3. What will be the outcome in game 4? It remains to be seen. Game 4 is Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. So be there and be able to watch it, because that is going to be another game that is going to come down to the wire, just like the first 3 have. And that's all I have for the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons. The next game I am going to cover is the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. Now, Clippers fans out there, you have the momentum on your side. The Denver Nuggets, this is what I was talking about throughout the entirety of the regular season when it comes to bench production. I'm going to start off with the Denver Nuggets bench production because I don't usually do this. But when you have Zeke Naji, 1 point, Hunter Tyson, 0 points, Peyton Watson, 2 points, DeAndre Jordan, 0 points, Russell Westbrook, 3 points, Julian Swather, 0 points, and then you have Jalen Pickett with 0 points. You have nothing from your bench production. Your bench did not give you any value. Only 6 points off of the bench for the Nuggets last night. You're not going to get nowhere with that. You really not. And like I said, you're not going now. The top 2 guys for the Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, each had 23 points. Aaron Gordon had 15. Michael Porter Jr., I don't know what's going on with him. He used to be a 3-point sniper. Now he can barely hit the side of a bomb. Excuse me, he can barely hit the side of a bomb or a barn. So he got bricks on his hands. That's all I could see. Because it seemed like every time he shoot, he's always missing shots or it's hitting the backboard. It's hitting the backboard and going off the rim. So he's got bricks on his hands. So I'm gonna call him Michael Porter Bricks Jr. That's what I'm gonna call him. So Michael Porter Bricks Jr. 7 points, Christian Braun 9 points, and the Denver Nuggets as a team they messed up by firing Michael Malone. This is why when they fired Mike Malone, I said that they put themselves behind the 8 ball because this was a couple weeks ago they had fired him. So you fired him on April 9th, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, please correct me if I'm wrong. You fired him on April 9th, and you only have like 7 more games left in the regular season. You win 4 out of your remaining 7. Then now you are down 2-1 in a series, and with the Clippers, they have all the momentum, and I'm gonna get into the Clippers statistics in a little bit. But the Denver Nuggets, at they this has just been an organizational failure for you to fire your head coach just 8 games left remaining in the regular season, and then all of a sudden now, as far as your defense concerned in the playoffs, you can't even stop anybody from getting over 25 points each quarter. See, look at this. Last night, the Clippers scored 35 points in the first quarter, 30 in the second quarter, 25 in the third quarter, and 27 in the fourth quarter. Now, if this was the Denver Nuggets from a couple of years ago, Denver Nuggets they would have allowed 17 points in this quarter, 16 points in that quarter, maybe 21 points in the final quarter. But when you allow your opponent to score 25 plus points in each quarter, you are bound to lose, and that's what it was last night for the Denver Nuggets. Now, as far as the LA Clippers, you got Kawhi Leonard, 21 points. Ibaka Zubac, 19 points. James Harden, 20 points. Norman Powell came off he's been a bench player his entire career, but he came into the starting lineup this season. He had 20 points. Chris Dunn, 6 points. Clippers bench production. Nicholas Batum, 12 points. Drew Eubanks, 3 points. Derrick Jones Jr., 10 points. Patty Mills, 3 points. Ben Simmons, 0 points. Boban Bogdanovic, 2 points. Jordan Miller, 1 point. Kobe Brown, 0 points. Cam Christie, 0 points. And Amir Coffey did not play because of coach's decision. Now, the Clippers, in this case, I believe, I thought that the Nuggets would somehow win this series, but like I said, I'm not going to try and jinx the Clippers right here. But the last few times the Clippers have been up 2-1 in a series, they've ended up losing it. So let's see what the Clippers can do, because you have the Nuggets almost down and out because they don't have a reliable bench. They don't. The Nuggets reliable bench players left at the start of the regular season when they were trading them last offseason. So the Denver Nuggets are between a rock and a hard place, and last night's statistics, all of them went in favor of the Clippers. You can see it from top to bottom. Field goal percentage from the floor, 48% for the Clippers, 40% for the Denver Nuggets. 3-point percentage, 46% for the Clippers, 26% for the Denver Nuggets. Free throws, slightly better free throw percentage for the Nuggets. Total rebounds plus 10 for the Clippers. Offensive rebounds plus 4 for the Clippers. Defensive rebounds plus 6 for the Clippers. Assists plus 6 for the Clippers. Steals, they were even. Blocks plus 5 for the Clippers. You all see the trend that I'm getting at. Total turnovers plus 6 for the Denver Nuggets. Points off of turnovers plus 7 for the Denver Nuggets. Fast break points plus 10 for the Clippers. Points in the paint plus 4 for the Clippers. Fouls, Nuggets had more fouls than the Clippers. Technical fouls, no technical fouls, no flagrant fouls. Largest lead was 34 points for the Clippers. The Nuggets had a 7-point lead, and that was early in the first quarter. That was really early in the game because outside of that, this was just a blowout in and of itself. Now, can the Denver Nuggets somehow bounce back in game 4 and even this series up at 2, and it'll be the best of 3? Or will the Clippers take a 3-1 lead? Take a 3-1 lead with a chance to finish the series in Denver. Oh boy. If you are a Clippers fan right now, I know that you are on pins and needles because y'all track record when it comes to having a lead in a series, whether it's 2-1, 3-1, or 3-0. Well, excuse me, I'm not going to go that far, 3-0, because we all know nobody has ever come back from a 3-0 lead. But 2-1 or 3-1, it seemed like the Clippers, they tend to relax and just be lackadaisical. But in the playoffs, you can't be lackadaisical. You can't. So game 4 is Sunday for the Nuggets and Clippers. And may the best team win game 4. That's all I have for the Nuggets and Clippers series. Now, the next game and the last game I'm going to cover for today before I shift on over to Instagram, I'm going to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies and the Oklahoma City Thunder. All of you Memphis Grizzlies fans out there, you all should be ashamed this morning. You really should. And you know what? First off, scratch that. I'm not going to talk about the fan base first. But what I am going to talk about is the players and the coaching staff. And I do mean I'm going to talk about the coaching staff because coaching staff, they shouldn't have let what happened last night happen. I mean, you are up by 29 points with a quarter and a half left. A quarter and a half left, and you're up by 29 points, and somehow you still lose this game? I mean, come on, Memphis fans. I mean, the percentages of a team coming back from a 29-point deficit in the NBA now with the 3-point line is significantly low. I'm gonna give y'all the percentages right now. Right now, it is so that when the Thunder were down by 29 points late in the third quarter, their win probability was 17%. It was 17%. Now, when the deficit got down to 20, it went up to 25%. When the deficit got down to 15, it was on a playing field now. It was on a level playing field. It went up to 45%. Then when the OKC Thunder got the deficit down to 3, it started going in their favor. So, like what I've been saying, the Memphis Grizzlies, they are an embarrassment. They really are, because you are the kind of team. The Memphis Grizzlies have been the kind of team over the last, I'm going to say, 5 years. At the start of the season, preseason, they have all of this hype. and I do mean, I say all of this hype, and it's not even worthy. They're not even worthy of all of this hype because they are an organizational failure. And yes, I am saying that because you have had too many the Grizzlies over the years, and I'm going back to when I was in high school. You have had too many instances where you've had leads like this, 20 plus point leads, and you still lose the game. Now I can remember that it has been three separate occasions where the Memphis Grizzlies have had all the momentum in the playoff series, and somehow they still lose. It's like the Memphis Grizzlies. They just gonna have to show me before I can believe what they are trying to put out there on the floor because your product is false advertisement right now. That is what your product is, Memphis Grizzlies. Y'all are under the y'all are giving y'all fan base the assumption that y'all are going to go very far in the playoffs. But when you have a faulty product, nothing that a person says when they have a faulty product can be believable. I'm gonna go back to everyday business like a store. If a store has a faulty product, they gonna have to take it off the rack. Now the Memphis Grizzlies, they have a faulty product. You can see in their lineup. Let me tell you about their lineup. Jaren Jackson Jr., 22 points. Zach Edey, 9 points. John Morant, he is the leader of the franchise, but he only had 15 points last night. Now, even though he had an injury, I'm gonna give him a space of grace because he had an injury last night. But before he had that injury, he was a non-factor. Desmond Bain, 10 points. That guy, he's usually a factor. Wasn't a factor. Scottie Pippen Jr., he had 28 points. He was a factor. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Scottie Pippen Jr. was the only ones that was carrying the Memphis Grizzlies last night. Bench production for the Grizzlies. Santi Amata, 14 points. John Concar, 5 points. Luke Kennard, 5 points. Vince Williams Jr., 0 points. Now, Memphis Grizzlies, I knew that I said at the start of the season that the Memphis Grizzlies would not get very far because they are too arrogant. Their players, especially John Morant, at times he shows a lot of arrogance. Now he said in his press conference that it's just confidence, but when you are talking a whole lot of cold cash trash to teams that have experience, that have more playoff experience than you do, and that have won championships, then you haven't won a championship. Now you got to take a back seat. You got to take a back seat and say that yes, I know that this team is significantly better than us, but we are going to try and make this series a knockdown, drag out fight. Now, last night I commend the Memphis Grizzlies for making it look like a game. But they shouldn't have lost this game being up by 29 points with only a quarter and a half left. That does not make any sense. And to the Memphis Grizzlies fans, I I feel for y'all right now. I really do. Because all of the fans that pay their money to come and see the Memphis Grizzlies in the playoffs and win a playoff game, you're up by 29, you had all the momentum in your favor, and somehow you still lose. And let me tell you, you lost, and the two top players for the Thunder didn't even have a signature game again. Shea Gildress Alexander, he had 31 points, but they really didn't need him like they did like last night either. Because you had Jalen Williams with his 26 points. Then you had Chet Holmgren with his 24 points. And then you also had contributions off of the bench. So the Memphis Grizzlies, this series is basically over for the Memphis Grizzlies. I said that after game 2 because I'm going to tell you, since this series has started, the Memphis Grizzlies have led for a grand total, including last night. They've led for a grand total of 2.5 quarters. And when I say 2.5 quarters, 2.5 quarters, so it's 12-minute quarters in the NBA. So 2.5 quarters, that is 32 minutes. So the Memphis Grizzlies have led for a grand total of 32 minutes in this series, while the Oklahoma City Thunder have led for a grand total of 100 and 109 minutes of this series. So that's those are the stats. I'm reading the stats to y'all. I know that these stats are incomprehensible and not and the stats are uncomprehendable, but that is exactly how the Memphis Grizzlies are playing right now. And the OKC Thunder, best team in the West. We always said that coming into this series, we said that the Memphis Grizzlies wasn't an average AC, but they are looking like an average AC, and it showed last night. The statistics, now the statistics, most of the statistics for last night's game are in favor of the Memphis Grizzlies, and they still lost. You see that? They still lost. The largest lead, I'm going to say this, we already know, largest lead for the Grizzlies was 29 points. 29 points. If I'm the head coach, you know what? Better yet, if I'm the owner of the Memphis Grizzlies, I'm going into the head coach's office. I'm going into my general manager's office, and I'm saying to myself, I'm like, guys, what happened to us last night? We were up by 29, and we still lost. I'm paying y'all the big bucks, and y'all not giving me results in return. I don't know. Somebody gonna lose their job in Memphis, not the head coach, because what I was telling people is that when the Grizzlies fired their head coach 3 weeks ago, well, no, not 3 weeks ago, a month ago, they were using him as a scapegoat. But they have more problems that are much more severe than just a head coaching change. So, game 4, season is on the line for the Memphis Grizzlies. Hopefully they come out and put up some kind of a fight. But I think the Oklahoma City Thunder is going to sweep the Memphis Grizzlies on their home floor. So one thing that the OKC Thunder can do after they win game 4 is just tell the Memphis Grizzlies, y'all can go on vacation. Y'all can enjoy staying home because game 4 is in Memphis. So that's what I would be saying. Y'all don't have to go back on the plane. Just stay on home, go to the hotel, go to Cancun, go to Mexico, go overseas wherever you want a vacation at. But you're not going back on the plane with us because y'all are done and y'all are staying right here in Memphis. That is what I would say if I was a that's what I would say if I was a Thunder player. And with that, those are my reactions to game 3s between the New York Knicks, Detroit Pistons, Clippers Nuggets, and the Thunder Grizzlies. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. Also, we are doing an expansion right here on YouTube, and we are also doing an expansion over on my other show, Key City Sports, on Instagram. And immediately after this show, we will shift on over to Instagram, and I will give you all my expertise following these game 3 results for all of these series. And plus, the draft. And I do mean the draft. Last night, we had quite a few surprises last night. Shador Sanders still is on the board. Nobody has picked him up. Travis Hunter, he was drafted by the Jaguars last night in a surprising move because I thought that he was going to go to the Browns, but last night I got a call around 7:50 saying that Travis Hunter to the Jaguars was confirmed. So that's all I have for the NBA playoffs, and also draft spots and stuff. So one last thing I want to say to everybody: remember, the key is always and will always be